Good morning, everyone. How are you? I hope everybody is doing well. Let me make sure I have my site muted there. Happy Friday to you. Today is what? Friday, March 7th. Beautiful day outside, or what's starting to be a beautiful day outside. The sun is still trying to come up. Last few days for us to enjoy that extra hour that we get from daylight. What is it? Standard time? Because daylight savings time is supposed to start, I believe, on Sunday, early Sunday morning. So we're going to lose an hour's sleep. So I'm enjoying the opportunity um, to enjoy this extra hour that's not disrupted. Good morning, Prissy. How are you doing? Good morning. Good morning, friend. Good morning, Shelly Gray. How are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. Whew. I am starting to feel a lot of relief, and I think I'll feel much more relief later today. I know some of you are aware that I was dealing with a little bit of a health struggle, health crisis. I finally, finally got the second opinion that I needed, and it confirmed and reconfirmed some things for me. And I think I have a straight path forward now at this point. Um, I'll just have to do a little bit longer of, just dealing with pain and dealing with a little bit of pain control. Not pain control, but pain management. But I think we're going to see a way forward, and I'll have more information about that after I speak with another secondary specialist today. But it feels good and feels like such a relief to finally be on what appears to be a good path. So that's great. That is great. It was the one thing that I had hoped for and asked the universe for. Send me to the right people that can explain things to me in a way that I can understand. I mean, this doctor was fabulous. She pulled up the internet, pulled up pictures, showed me stuff that was going on, and really, really, really helped me to get a clear understanding of what was happening and what we needed to do to get me back on track. So I'm excited for that. That makes me, that relieved my heart and soul yesterday. And I woke up this morning and I said, for the first time, I'm not waking up panicked about not what's going on. Of course, you can give good news. This is always a space to share good news. That is really good. Go right ahead, friend. All right. So while you're doing that, let me get us kind of squared away and ready to go. I think I have started my self care because I did make myself my coffee and my water, and I have to take my medication. So we're going to do that right here. So that's part of my self care routine in the morning, is to make sure I get my water in me. I even put a little flavor in it this morning. I put a little bit too much flavor in it this morning. Ooh, I'm gonna have to chase this down with a glass of plain water. Hmm. So that's great there. Uh huh. Okay. That is wonderful. 8 years. Oh, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. That is very good news. That is very good news. That is very good news. I think in my case and situation, so far they're kind of ruling that out. But I never say never about that sort of thing until after we've had the chance to actually do the surgery and the biopsies and things are able to be done and performed. But that was really the greatest part of relief for me, because the way it had been presented to me about the surgery that I needed to have, it felt like, oh, this is urgent and there's a huge problem, and and other things like that. But the second, like I said, the second review of the situation, looking at the same results and looking at everything that was going on, they were really able to explain to me that, I won't go into a lot of details, but I've had to have surgery before in the past, and perhaps there were some things that were, um, I won't say botched, but there may have been some challenges and difficulties. And like I said, I won't go too deep into it, but it was a very difficult, experience with that surgery. Oh gosh, 15 years ago, 14, 15 years ago. And we're thinking that what happened is that, um, they're going to have to go in and take care of some things in addition to what new has popped up. So it just is what it is, when you're living life. But at least now I have, like I said, a much better, much clearer picture. I mean, the pictures were worth 1,000 words. All the things that, this doctor, she really took her time, listened to me, and then came back, and really spent the time really explaining what was happening. We as, women are very complex, very complex. It's a complex set of mechanisms down there, and slight, we don't know why certain decisions were made, but they have come back, and so we're gonna go in and address the issue that is new, and hopefully be able to address some issues from the past as well. But it is what it is. I'm thankful to be here, and like I said, I'm thankful to have had somebody to really take that time and really explain what was going on. You know, yeah. And the funny thing is, she was like, I really love that doctor, so forth and so on. But the questions that I had, like I said to her, I said I wasn't understanding what she was saying. It wasn't being presented to me in a very clear manner for me to understand the risks, to understand what I was dealing with. And I said, you were able to, because she said it. She was like, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And she immediately picked up her computer. She went, grabbed the pictures, pulled the pictures up, started showing me what we were talking about, showing me my condition and what. And I was like, see, I didn't have that kind of bedside manner with the first doctor. She might be a wonderful person. She might be, top of her game, but she just did not have the bedside manner that was going to be required for me to fully understand what it is that I'm dealing with, so that I'm not walking around with fear and trepidation, right? And so it's just really good to have met a doctor who understood that some people like to be a little bit better informed, and has had has the capacity has the capacity to be to be forthcoming. Yeah, yeah. And I could tell, she was a doctor, and I know she was very well accomplished, but I could see her hands shaking. It's scary. It's scary when you're talking to people and you're being forthcoming about what they're dealing with. It's scary. And I could appreciate that. And I've sensed that in the room. Not that she was afraid, but it's really nervous. I'm a stranger, right? I'm a stranger to her. She has no idea how I'm going to react, right? And so I get it, you know, but I'm a woman of a certain age. I need truth. I need you to be forthright. I need you to be direct. I need you to be clear about what you're talking about, so that I can make a well informed decision, you know, and whatever your decision might be in terms of what my treatment is, I can understand that decision, and I can either agree or disagree or say, can we try something different? you know. But that's the difference. I'm not a young person. I'm not walking in that room with any other emotion other than curiosity to understand what is happening, and some fear because I don't know. I'm not a medical expert, but I'm walking in the room really looking to seek and understand, you know, what what is happening in my body, what your recommendations are. And if I don't agree, just like with the first doctor, it wasn't that I didn't agree. It just didn't sit right. I'm like, I don't know enough to know if I'm making the right choice, a right decision. So I know how to go out and say, here's the same results that Dr. A saw, Dr. B. Can you tell me a little bit more about this and what you would suggest as a course of action? The course of action is the same. However, this doctor was able to tell me the three procedures that would need to be done while I was having the surgery. This doctor was able to articulate to me, call the surgeon, and say, these are the things that we have seen, and these are the types of you know, uh, things that are what are your, how do we go about getting all three of these things done? Because see, the initial conversation was just about doing one thing and not addressing the rest of the problem, right? And so I felt like I got a fuller, clearer picture that there are three things that are going on, that while we are doing what we're supposed to do, let's get it all taken care of at once, you know, and not have me come and, I did a little bit this week. Oh, you gotta come back in 6 months to do this, and you gotta come. If that is the treatment plan, that's one thing. But let's start with the beginning of understanding the full picture. Yes, that's right. That's right. That is 100% correct. That's 100% correct, Percy. You know, it's the what. I wasn't, she went into some reasons as to why, and I appreciated her candor even with the why. She was like, honestly, we don't know why this is happening. We can suspect that maybe something didn't go right in a previous surgery, or maybe, whatever. But she was like, but we don't know the full picture. But this is what, you need to know about what we are seeing and how we might go about a treatment plan. And as I said to her, even in that surgery that I had previously, I said, they started one way and realized they couldn't do what they needed to do for whatever reason, and they had to end up doing a second part, a more extensive cut for the surgery. So I don't know what they were faced with or what they were seeing, and that's why I was saying we understand the path forward, we understand how we're going to start, but I can't make a prediction and say, oh, with certainty it's not this, or with certainty it's not that. We won't know any of that until after the surgery is done and they have a chance to actually fully look at everything and then come back with the analysis, right? So, but I'm optimistically hopeful. I'm optimistically hopeful. And every indicator from the blood test and everything else is like, this isn't the big C word, right? But, you know, uh, I don't remove that as somebody could find out that that's true, you know? Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. But for me right now, it is just my thing is understanding pain management. What she was able to do for me yesterday was give me the opportunity to stop putting my life on hold. I had put my life on hold around the publication of my book. I had to slow down for a moment because I wasn't sure. You know, I don't want to start something and then have major surgery and can't follow through. Give me just one second. Um, so I didn't. So it had put me on hold with my book. It had put me on hold for the travel that I had already planned. It had put me on hold for quite a few things at work, opportunities that had arisen for me. And I kind of slowed down and I was like, I don't want to start in the middle of this opportunity and I can't complete it, or I have to take a significant amount of time away. So now what the relief is for me is I have an understanding now of what needs to be done, uh, a course of action that can be taken, an understanding around the levels of sense of urgency, and understanding of maybe for some of these things you can continue to move forward and not worry so much about it. And you just have to do a little bit of pain management right now until at a time like perhaps in the summer when everything is kind of settled. It's fine. I didn't even know if it was even safe for me to get on a plane and fly, halfway across the world to go on a vacation that I had. I was like, is the illness that I have or the condition that I have, would it be impacted by a long distance flight? So there were so many questions. Like I said, there were so many questions for me that were unanswered that it really had essentially my whole life had pretty much come to a sudden halt and not knowing what to do moving forward. And I had many people surrounding me who were saying, well, don't change your plans, just go do everything. And I was like, that's not me. That's not how I'm wired, right? I don't like to start something knowing I can't finish it, or knowing I'm going to have a major disruption, or saying to myself, well, shit, I could have waited a couple of months and this would have had a much better outcome, right? So now I know better how to plan for my life, so that's where that huge sense of relief comes in for me, right? I don't know what I don't know, but I do know what I do know, and I know enough now to know I don't have to put my life on pause, that I can continue moving forward with the things that I need to continue moving forward for. I didn't come to a standstill, but I was just holding back. I was throttling back, you know. So now I don't have to throttle back so hard, and I can go ahead and enjoy some of the things that I had planned, for myself. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I have managed to talk for quite some time, so I do have some things I need to get done today, and I do have a very important meeting today. So what I would like to do is spend the 75 minutes of time, quiet time, working on some things so that I can center my brain, because I do have a tough meeting at 10 o'clock this morning. There are some people who are unhappy about some things, and there are some, um, but I think I have a wonderful boss, and we have spent a good amount of time talking about how to navigate this morning. So I'm going to center myself, do some things that I enjoy, so that I have that peace of mind and zen when I walk into that meeting, and I can be open to whatever is spoken to, and be able to respond in a positive manner. So anyway, let's get going with this. I'm going to get the timer set up. We'll do 75 minutes of flow without interruption, so that we can get a good focus time going. And then I'll come back, and for 5 minutes we will, close out. Best of luck to everybody. I hope you have a very productive 75 minutes. Unfortunately, I cannot stay later today than the planned time because of the important meeting that I have. But I will. Oh, thank you so much. But I will. But I will go ahead and get us in the flow session and end out today. We'll be back tonight. Prissy Gabe had to work last night, so we weren't able to do the Sims. We're hoping to be able to do the Sims tonight. So we just have to work around work schedules a little bit, and sometimes life gets in the way, but that's okay. We still will make time to play. All right. Thank you all so much. Enjoy your 75 minutes of flow. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again for being here this morning. I do have a hard stop at 8:30, so I'm going to go ahead and get us set up for the raid. I hope that everybody had a good, productive session. I know that I did. I was able to get quite a bit done in terms of the proofreading that I was doing. And of course, the proofreading always turns into a little bit of light editing, but that's okay as well. So I'm looking forward to just going back and taking a few minutes away from this morning and reading through that and making sure that I have that set up as I had expected. All right, so now let us find someone who is still in the reading and writing category. We have not spent any time over with. Yes, there was some feedback that I received back, and so I was just looking at it, and it's really good feedback. We're just trying to make a stronger start for chapter one. But the rest of the book is fine. So we were just looking at the chapter one. Okay, let me send us over to Mama Rednecks. So let's do the raid. The title of this stream says that they are working on some morning sprints to get the brain working. Perfect. I love it. I love that. I love that so much. So for those who are joining in the raid with me, here is our raid message. So if you'd like to copy that, you certainly can. And I'd like to say to everybody, thank you so much for being here. As always, I enjoy spending time with you. I appreciate your lurks. I appreciate your chat, your words of encouragement. And for any new followers or anyone who subbed or cheered during the stream, thank you so much for that as well. So I hope to see you all again tomorrow morning. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. To do a little bit of a longer day. Other little games in between to keep our brains sharp. So I hope to see you again soon. And until then, everybody, please take care of yourself and God bless. All right, and there's our raid message again. Take care, everybody.